All right, we want to welcome everybody to the Launchpad stage. How's everybody doing today? That was a little weak. I said, how's everybody doing today?
Oh, come on.
Good. I am super excited. My name is Hajj Flemings. I'm the CEO of RebrandX, and we're excited about this conversation. For us, this conversation, to us, is the most important conversation taking place today. And what we're going to talk about is how we're empowering SMBs and how digital access is important to the small businesses who are the backbone of this economy. But let's start off by saying this. These kind of conversations do not happen without strategic partners and people who prioritize the small business community and technological transformation. So we want to first start off by thanking JP Morgan Chase.
Woo! 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 Love you.
Who has been a part of this ecosystem, a very important part, and also Tech Equity Miami.
Yes.
All right. So as we jump into this conversation, I'm flip it over to my co-moderator, Cynthia Respert.
Hi, everyone. How you doing today? Good. My name is Cynthia Respert, COO of Rebrand Cities, and this is a culminating moment. We've had AI readiness workshops with the SMBs starting with Q4 of last year. That led them to a tech and startup and SMB accelerator where they got mentorship from the VMT team. Shout out to them. And they're right here today, too, as well as just next level strategies and coaching. And then yesterday, we had a power pack day for some sessions to talk about AI and innovation and talent acquisition. And the party is starting again here today. We invite you to kind of partake of the SMB pavilion over here to my right, and you can see who has been showcased this year. But today, again, like Hajj said, this wouldn't happen without our partners. So we're going to ask the panelists to introduce themselves, and then we're going to get into the conversation.
Okay, I'm kicking it off. So great to see so many familiar faces and also new ones here. Love eMerge. This is awesome and love the energy. Also, before I introduce myself, just please visit these SMBs over here on the side after this panel. They are incredible. They are, as you said, the backbone to our local economy here and beyond. So definitely go and visit them. My name is Johanna Mikkola. I'm the CEO of Tech Equity Miami, where we are bridging connections between funders and incredible programs like the SMB Growth Lab, which is a partnership between eMerge America's Foundation and the amazing Rebrand Cities so that we can support small businesses. We also support K-12 STEM education and workforce talent development in the realm of technology skills. Awesome to be here.
Thanks, Joe. I'm Andrew Lane from JP Morgan. It's an honor to be on the stage with people, movers and shakers that are truly impacting the city in which we are fortunate enough to live in. I am part of JP Morgan's innovation economy team and help lead a team of bankers focused on supporting founders from inception to IPO and bringing the resources that JP Morgan can bear, insights, thought leadership, and tools and platforms to help companies grow and scale. And what we've seen across this ecosystem over the number of years is there's phenomenal founders and talent, but sometimes access to the right resources and or partners is lacking. And that is what just excites me about what you all have built in this program. And it's just, I want to dive in on the impact that you all are making. So thank you. I'll pass it over to Emily.
Amazing. Thank you. My name is Emily Varela. I'm the project manager for the accelerator programs here at eMerge Americas. I'm very excited to be here today with all of you. It's an honor to sit on this panel with you. My first time on an eMerge stage. So this is a very exciting moment. Thank you. And I'm truly happy about everything that's been happening with the SMB Growth Lab. We're very excited about all the results that we're seeing and all the transformations that these SMBs have been going through for the past few months. We're so excited to continue to build on all this momentum. I hope everyone's been enjoying, hopefully passing by the booths and learning more about them. They're ready to connect with you and are very excited to see ways to collaborate and understand how we can all help each other in this huge party we have going on.
Awesome. Let's give it up for our panelists. So Hajj, we've been doing this work a long time. And we started in the heart of the city with Rebrand Detroit and Rebrand Cities, starting out back in 2015. We've impacted 2,000 businesses, 10 cities, 3 countries. Those are the numbers, but there's a why behind that, right? So tell us a little bit about Rebrand Cities, as if I'm not a part of it, but yeah, tell us a little bit about Rebrand Cities and why digital access is so critical for SMBs.
That's an amazing question, Cynthia. But we've always operated in the future, right? And so we've always been focused on how do we see around corners and making sure that small businesses are a part of that. What we realize when people think about small businesses, what they historically think about is only a family-owned business or a micro business, and is technology really embedded in that process? In the work that we've done, we started back when small businesses didn't have a lot of websites. There probably was less than 46% online, and we started there. And now we've moved towards making sure that they're AI ready. And so in this partnership and in the work that we're doing today, how do we make sure these small businesses are future-proofed? We understand that they are a cultural part of the DNA of cities, but how do we make sure that they are sustainable when all the furniture in the room is moving, especially in the political and economic landscape that we live in today? And so what we want to do is make sure that these businesses that don't necessarily have somebody who sits in a technology seat, they have all the tools, access, and ability to be able to scale and be able to do stuff with excellence. So I think just kind of laying that foundation, what we want to do is talk to these amazing thought leaders who are icons in their own right. And this is more of a general question. What are some of the digital barriers that you've seen that SMBs have to deal with, regardless of the vertical or the industry that they've really had to deal with, that you want to make sure that they're empowered to be able to overcome?
Well, SMBs face different challenges, right? So they can deal with things like tight budgets. They can deal with things like not having a very tech-savvy staff. So it's important to understand the landscape in your own industry and face these challenges in a way where you're able to help your business and try to accomplish and find these solutions that are honestly available, but sometimes SMBs don't know where to go or who to go to for advice on how to find these digital tools. So I think the biggest challenge is really, how do I get there? And what tools can I implement?
Yeah, I really like to think about this. Digital access is really about economic access for SMBs. So there's no SMB that doesn't want access to economic opportunity and growth for their business. But I think oftentimes when we think digital and tech, we might almost start too far down the line. Sometimes for an SMB, it's as simple as integrating a POS system, or even going further back from that, getting their whole team to use digital products. Other SMBs are more digitally advanced and want to understand how to integrate AI. And so it's vast what the barriers are, as you mentioned. And so it's really important to meet SMBs where they're at, not only physically, but also in the skills that they need and the kind of businesses that they're running.
And again, I'll also add to that, we're also dealing with multi-generational leadership inside of these businesses. And so how we interface and interact with them can be different.
Yeah, and I was going to say too, from a technology resource and just platform, from a financial institution perspective, sometimes, as Joe mentioned, just zooming back into the basic consumer insights. Where are the people living that are interacting with that brand, and how those businesses can gain insights and traction to further either enhance or change their business strategy is another thing that and tool that we try to give our clients and customers to gain those insights and basically be able to talk at a strategic level about, are we touching the right individuals that we actually think we are, and how does that then down the stage impact marketing strategies and so forth.
I think that's important because sometimes we look at it from and a level that is too complex. So it's important to simplify this technology for small businesses as well. Like you said, to meet them where they are. How do we integrate this into your CRM? How do we give you that digital team member that you need that you can't afford to hire, but you can create with AI, right? So how do we empower them to have a lighter lift, but deeper impact in their businesses? Joe, this is a good question for you because the mission for Tech Equity Miami is amazing. $100 million in 5 years to remove some of these barriers that we're talking about. So one of the questions, it says, Miami has become this big tech hub, this innovation. Like there's an energy here. Do we agree?
In progress.
Yes.
Progress.
Yes.
Yeah, let's
Yes.
clap it up for
There's an
that.
energy here in Miami. How do you see this energy and innovation impacting the small businesses, the SMBs here?
Yeah, and I gotta say, I came to this ecosystem to start an SMB.
Okay.
So I have lived it myself. So access is really important to network and community and all that. But there's a lot to benefit. Whenever there's energy into something, there's so much momentum that's happening and a lot of activity that's happening. And so the way that SMBs are really benefiting right now is that there are options, and those options are building. One of those options is SMB Growth Lab. I can't wait to hear about the testimonials from this program and the impact that it has had. But I think programs like SMB Growth Lab, we're doing another one with Oats for individuals who are 55 and older and running SMBs, is making sure that we have programs that are inclusive where people feel like they can be part of a digital economy and that they do belong to it. So I think one, changing that mentality of like, this is for everyone, everyone belongs in the digital economy. That's a huge benefit because the momentum has brought an addition of funding, incredible funders like JP Morgan, who has powered so much change and impact in this ecosystem, and all the different programs that are serving the different communities. So there are more opportunities and options to get the resources that you need as an SMB. So I think like any SMBs out there, like get to know the programs, talk to Rebrand, Emerge, ourselves, and like jump into them because, you know, we're helping provide that for the ecosystem. So the biggest benefit is that there are options now.
All right, so Andrew, let's jump into the next question. So if we look at digital banking and fintech, I know for me, it's really interesting just to see how technology is empowering these small businesses. Have you seen that this is a game changer in terms of them being more aware of their data and being able to kind of manage the business side of the work that they love to do?
100%, absolutely. And if we kind of zoom out at the macro level, what's fascinating about JP Morgan is, right, we have an $18 billion technology budget that Laurie Beer, our CTO, manages. And when you think about the different nodes within JP Morgan, right, 63,000 technologists, 44,000 engineers, over 6,500 different applications that are both internal facing and external facing, and a whole team, right, that is focused on the $11 trillion of payments that run through our bank on a daily basis. How are we providing different resources and technological tools to help SMBs or late stage businesses gain access to different insights and efficiencies? So I think as our team, right, like thinks through delivering best-in-class products, solutions, and platforms, there's a myriad of different conversations that we could like have down that platform, or how we are bringing online banking, right, being able to open up an account in 24 hours, how we give a founder and their finance teams access to cash, portfolio cash management, cash runway when you're managing a business, all of these different tools. But I think sometimes as we talk about access, sometimes founders just don't know, as we said, that the information exists, but it's trying to find the information and knowing that it exists, and then how to actually utilize the platform to the advantage.
I'll just quickly add to this. Finances help scale and grow, right? So understanding that this access exists for SMBs is so important. Overall, the benefit is that SMBs now have access to programming that can help them grow, scale, and innovate. Growth, scale, innovation, those are generally terms that we talk about when it's tech startups. It's not just tech startups anymore when we give them access to these kinds of opportunities and access to good capital, right? Lots of capital.
So that's interesting because even when I think about JP Morgan Chase, I'm thinking about JP Morgan Chase not just as a financial institution, but almost like a technology company as well, too, just because of all the data and the insight that you're able to provide. And I think this becomes critically important to be able to make sure that these companies have the information so that they can do more with less, right? And so I think that's an important part to be able to talk about. All right. So now let's jump into Emily, who has been waiting patiently for the next question. So how do SMBs effectively adopt digital tools to compete against larger enterprises? Lots of times we believe that large enterprises have access to tools and all these different resources, but how can we make sure that the small businesses are not left behind?
Well, they say imitation is the best form of flattery, right? So it's important to understand what these big enterprises are doing. And then by defining what your needs are, what the business's needs are, you can then find a way to implement those tools, those solutions in a way that works for the business. I think there's a lot of resources out there, so it's definitely important to see what's out in the world, like what enterprises are doing, and how can that help me and my business, and just tailor it to yourself.
You know, oftentimes, like you said, it's good to learn and study that, but oftentimes startups and SMBs have an advantage because they don't have all the red tape. They can iterate faster. They can implement AI solutions without having 7 levels of hierarchy to get approval from, right? So they can make changes and be more nimble in that regard. And then take advantage of the training opportunities, like you said.
Also, too, I think also there is a grit that small businesses have. And I think there's things that they've learned that they can even teach the tech side of the house, where they've had to work with less and they've had to be creative. And now when you add the technology element to the fact that they've been creative and innovative, I honestly think it gives them a leg up.
You know, there was an interesting, we're not going to stay too long on this question, but this was so interesting to me. There was a post out there where it was showing that human beings, people, everyday people, and businesses are upskilling in AI, right? So they're moving faster than the corporations. So you're going to reach this inflection point where the super users and those that are upskilling and learning AI are looking at the relic of this corporation like you're moving too slow, right? You have the resources, but the infrastructure is dated. I can't get changes through, and we can't implement these things. So I look at it from that lens as well, like that half full optimization aspect. Joe, I have
I'm
a
ready.
question
Tell me everything.
for your amazing organization. And this is not just about the ladies, but we're going to take a pulse. How many ladies do we have here? Make some noise, please.
Yeah.
So we know the numbers. Women start businesses faster than any other demographic. Yet and still, we only own 14% of tech businesses. And this question is not just about women, but that's just a heartbeat of mine to empower women and upskill them in AI. From a Tech Equity Miami standpoint, what's the mission for you and the organization to make sure that this is equitable, technology is equitable and accessible for everyone? All underserved areas, but just these powerhouses, you know, I like to say women are underfunded, underestimated areas, right? Demographics. How do you do that?
Yes, as a female founder, I agree. We have much work to do there still. But, again, framing is important. And I think this is as much an issue about a problem of economic growth for a business as it is a social justice issue. And so I think both of those things are really relevant when we talk about equity and access. In a multicultural, amazing city like Miami, we are naturally very diverse in the people that we are serving here. And so what we're doing right now to make sure that we are reaching the communities that we need to reach, and this is not planned, I'm not getting paid to say this, is organizations like Rebrand partnered with Emerge to make sure that we reached the communities that we needed to reach in terms of equity and inclusion. And with Tech Equity Miami, we put a lot of weight on the partners that we do work with to make sure that we are reaching those communities. We also helped fund Endeavor Lab, for example, which is incredible, where we supported women, Latin, and Black founders to make sure that we are reaching those communities. So the long and short of it is we're here for economic opportunity for all SMBs. Miami is naturally diverse, so we are naturally focusing on those ecosystems as well, but also we're intentional. And our investors and funders are also intentional about who they want to support and how they're going to support that, and we're going to continue to do that.
Awesome, and you're doing an amazing job. Let's give it up for
You
Tech
as
Equity
well.
Miami.
You as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to flip this too about Hajj, right? And Cynthia, I think you both are very humble in the impact that you have had here since you've been here, and also the communities that you've touched. So I'd love to like flip the script and ask you to share like your insights of interesting themes, obviously working with these great founders and SMBs here locally, like what the theme of like what they're missing actually is and how we all can support as a community, right, in threading the needle together.
I think the biggest thing is access and awareness and acceleration, right? That's what it produces. When we have access to the funding, access to the tech education, it accelerates their ability to make an impact. A lot of small businesses and SMBs are lacking clarity. The VMT team, shout out to them again, that's the venture mentoring team. They were super impressed and impacted by the interactions they had. It gave them clarity. Right? Sometimes when you are in this silo, you don't have the benefit of a VMT team. You don't have the benefit of our experience. So that access is very important. And something else that we do is we simplify, again, the technology that seems in the news and it's everywhere else, but it's not for me. We bring it home and bring it real to them and make it accessible.
So yes, just to add on to that, there was in the World Economic Forum, they just did an actual jobs report. And they said that by the year, I think 2025, which is 2030, I think it is, 39% of the skills will be obsolete. And so part of what we do is we're giving confidence to the small business owners in their ability to be able to focus on stuff that matters to their community, right? And so lots of times, by a quick show of hands, how many people have a part of your job that you don't like? Okay, everybody else is lying. Okay, so what we do is there are things that we know that they don't draw their energy from that's repetitive, repeatable. It might be a mindless task almost. What if we help to get those things off the table? So in this recent project that we did, we just worked with about 500 small businesses and kind of powered them through what does AI readiness look like. And so getting them comfortable with being uncomfortable. One of the things that we share with them is that some of the things that you're working on might feel alien to everybody else, but it's normal for you. And we want to get them comfortable with working on things that might seem alien out there, but it's going to be powerful and impactful. And so we try to put this stuff in layman's terms and also make them early adopters of this stuff, because right now it's still early. And so that's the work that we've been doing. Even in this accelerator, the conversations that we've had, and we have small businesses that are AI first that we're actually dealing with.
I love that.
Yes, and so it's exciting to be able to have conversations and to have a community that is empowering each other. So we really appreciate that question.
I'll just add, obviously love the work you all are doing and hearing that about AI. And no panel is complete without discussion of AI these days, right?
None.
But I've been saying this for a while now. It's not that we're going to be replaced by AI, but we will be replaced by the individuals and the companies that are utilizing AI for the tool that it is. And so that's where it starts for an SMB, is to have an opportunity to come to this program and learn those skills and fly.
And it really is a mindset thing. This is my quote, my mantra. I'm going to keep saying it. But AI is intended to be an extension of us, an amplification of our genius, not the extinction of us. And that's the mindset shift that we use for those that are not AI first, right? Those that feel like, I don't know how to integrate this into my business. I only know how to use ChatGPT and I'm good with that. But there's so much more, and it moves so fast, you have to keep up. So
we've also looked at this as, what is the future of intelligence, right? And so intelligence has always been this guarded thing that everybody doesn't have access to, but now it's abundant. but we need to make sure that it's available for companies that might not have the paid version of certain platforms, and making sure that they're aware, because these tools are moving so fast. And so that's where these kind of partnerships and even the vision of Emerge to say, let's not only focus on the tech, because when we say tech startup, are we only talking about high growth, venture backed, and a lot of small
Pre-revenue?
business? Yes, but a lot of small businesses are pre-revenue, right? And we're not necessarily venture backed, but they can still be disruptive in terms of what they do. So these kind of conversations are really, really exciting.
To our panelists, I mean, this has been amazing. I feel like we could go on for another 30 minutes. But if you had to give, from your perspective and your seat and your respective expertise, what word of advice, knowledge, last words would you give to SMBs?
I would say start small. Start small, understand what the immediate needs of your business are in order to start implementing and build from there. And also, I would say learn to adapt. Continuously learn, adapt. I mean, the digital world is constantly changing, and it's very important to continue to grow with it. So, yeah, I'd say those are my top two.
I would say from my perspective is one, like jumping in, but also two, not being afraid to have an honest and open conversation and just get started. Like in this ecosystem as a transplant from another state, what really excites me about Miami compared to my peers that sit in other markets across the country is this ecosystem is not afraid and will welcomely make an introduction to help someone else out. And I think we're more powerful together, working together, than, as we talked about, these different silos. And if everyone can just meet and network and thread the needle more in the digital transformation, and we can help educate each other, we're going to be much more powerful of an ecosystem, and SMBs will continue to thrive in the challenging environments that everyone's operating in.
Yeah, I would say think about digital tools as a business essential, not a luxury. It is a part of our world now and forevermore. So jump on, get on the wagon. And the other thing, it kind of in tune with that, is as a business essential tool, know that you are also essential to the digital economy. You're a part of it now. And so having that mindset shift is going to be really valuable.
So I think part of life is you have to be willing to do it scared, right? There will never be a right time. You can't wait for permission. And so I would say get out there. I'd shoot first, aim later sometimes. And I think just get out there and just make it happen. So that would be my advice to people.
And as we wrap, I would say AI is not the disruptor. You are. So let's get to it. Emily, you wanted to say something?
Yes, so one more thing, a quick announcement. I just want to invite everyone to please head to the SMB Pavilion, check out their booths, especially head there at 3:30. We're going to have a roundtable discussion led by Stephanie Carvajalino from the Biz Nation. And we're going to have this discussion on grants and procurement. So it's going to be great. I invite everyone to please head there, check them out, and stay connected.
So one last thing. How can people find out more about the Emerge SMB Growth Lab for the future? Because this is not the end.
Round two.
Yes, so round two will be starting. We're going to start accepting applications in the fall. However, we do have a wait list, so please reach out so that we can give you that link. You can sign up and receive all of the information as soon as it comes out in the fall, and just reach out. We have a lot of information that we can provide on this and how to get involved, and we'd love to have you and build this program with us.
Okay.